Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Sox on Tap.
Tony, my first reaction is just fuck yes, let's go.
Sox versus Detroit. That's where it all starts. It all starts taking care of business in-house in the Central Division.
That's right, I'm a meatball.
You got to bring that top button swag, baby.
It is always great to beat the Cubs.
And I'm a homer, so I always say they're gonna.
Dallas Keuchel Lansing got some beards that you should be afraid of.
What everybody said when he gets out there, it's me versus the other guy, and I'm going to beat him. So I just love that mentality. It's cool and fucking tough.
Steve, would you say that Tony is mad online?
I would definitely say that.
The White Sox winner.
Hello, White Sox fans, and welcome in to the Sox on Tap postgame show, a winning edition. I'm Jonnie. Tony Marchese alongside me tonight. Tony, how's your heart rate after that one?
Johnny, it's jacked. I'm jacked. That was a great ball game. Just, happy to be on the show here. Victory beers. Cheers. Victory beers. You got your Busch Light. I got the Budweiser out. It's a great night to talk White Sox baseball. They taste better after a win, man.
I will crack into that, Tony, because they absolutely do taste better after a win. We were having some misery beers on the Sunday Funday show yesterday. Luckily, that's turned around here. Victory beers tonight. Love to see them flowing. They, like you said, they just taste so much better. And this is important, Tony, because the White Sox needed to hashtag set the tone for the week. It was a little bit roundabout fashion, I think more so than we liked or expected after the early part of the game. But a win's a win nonetheless. At the end of the day, you got in the right column.
You did. You got in the right column. You had, an addition to your starting rotation that we're going to get into here, come up and win you a ball game today. Lots of up and downs through this one. It was, as you have titled this episode, a little bit dramatic. A flair for the dramatic was had tonight. But, overall, I think the first thing that I just want to say is good teams find ways to win ball games like this. There was some adversity. They overcame it. It was a good night to watch White Sox baseball. And as Steve says, you got to take care of business in the Central Division. I was a little bit worried after what we saw through the weekend. It's nice to set the tone the right way. Game one here, Johnny. Let's get into it, man.
Yeah, absolutely, Tony. When you talk about that, it's just something that we had discussed during the Sunday Funday portion. We were talking about the upcoming schedule and looking at what's going here, especially going to New York this weekend. So it would be demoralizing if you lost that, especially coming off of the 1-3 weekend that you did have against the Yankees back at home. So this game itself, like White Sox win 5-3 in 10 innings. How we got there, Tony, it started with Jonnie Cueto. First impressions of him in a White Sox uniform.
First impressions. Wow. Throwing strikes, big thing. Low pitch counts through 4 or 5 innings. Who thought that could happen this year? It was just such a breath of fresh air to see a starter take care of business the way that starters are supposed to take care of business. I'm not saying that we haven't had good starts from the Chicago White Sox starting rotation this season, but it's nice to see that coming in. I don't know what you would consider Jonnie Cueto at this point. I look at him as kind of your 5 guy at this point because you don't know what you are going to get from Jonnie Cueto when he eventually made it up to the big leagues. But at this point, you're looking at this and you're like, money in the pocket, man. I am loving what I'm seeing from him. I'll let you talk a little bit more about what you saw on the actual mound. I'm thinking, first impressions, end result. He got the job done today. Obviously, there was some late inning stuff that happened, but I was really impressed with this start. I don't know. I wish he's been in this rotation this entire time so far this year. I know he was working back from some stuff, late signing, but holy shit, dude, I was impressed.
The shimmy, Tony, I got to start right there. The shimmy is cool and tough. We've seen all of the GIFs, the videos from his years past. Obviously, spent a decent chunk of time with the Giants. Before that, the Royals. Before that, the Reds. He's done it all over wherever he's been, and it throws hitters off, which is just a new wrinkle that you have to get used to. And it's hard to, and you saw that in the results in how many, he's not pumping gas. What, I think they said he topped out and like his fastest pitches were coming just under 93 miles an hour. But it's that deception. It's that timing change. It's that when is he going to go on a quick step? When is he going to go and raise up with the leg and move the shoulders a little bit and like keep you waiting for 5 seconds before he actually delivers the ball. Tony, I like someone that's unique, and you can like point that kind of stuff out because A, it makes for a great visual while you're watching the game, and then B, you see it effective in the results.
Yeah, and Johnny, this is the kind of guy that you love to have on your team, and if your opponent, you hate this. Like if Johnny Cueto was, God forbid, on any of the other AL Central Division teams and we had to face this guy all the time, I would be annoyed watching as the opposing fan. I would be annoyed being in the opposing dugout. I would be annoyed being in the opposing lineup, having to deal with somebody who's a master at deception. I think that that's one of the coolest and toughest things about baseball. I love the oddities that you can have throughout there. Joe Kelly's got a little bit of that as well.
The gamesmanship,
yeah, the gamesmanship and just how you win ball games, stuff like that does. It goes out there, it sets the tone. That's what it matters in this game. A lot of this is mental. And when you have the ability to throw people off just with your motion and your windup and all, I feel like a lot of that stuff's been lost in baseball, especially over the past few years. Everybody wants to, all the batting stances are all the same now. The windups, a lot of guys are working out of the stretch. There's no flair, there's no individuality in it, and it's lost some of the gamesmanship. You see a guy like Johnny Cueto come out here, do that, it warms my heart as a baseball fan, Johnny.
It's a little bit like art, Tony.
Yes.
I think, and it's the modern art versus the classic,
Yes.
Whatever, however you want to compare that there. But let's talk Johnny Cueto numbers wise here tonight. Tony, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. And like I said, that was not due to overpowering stuff in terms of blowing guys away. It was due to the deception, and it was due to some lethal spin that he has on that ball, Tony. We had talked about pitches that we really like, and I still stand by the curveball. The 12-6er is mine. I know you like a high heat, the fastball that's really pumping. But how about a 2-seamer that has the tail on it like Johnny Cueto's does?
I love the 2-seam fastball. Never really threw one back in my day just because I couldn't get that tail spin down, Johnny. But I love guys that can go and use that effectively. I think it's a great pitch. Guys that can get some movement and some ride on a fastball nice in like that. If that's on, it's gonna be a long day for the opposing lineup. And as you saw today, Johnny, he had his stuff working. So look at the tail of the tape.
Yeah,
shows everything.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, when you go out there and you don't give up any runs, that's pretty damn solid. That's what you want out of your starter every time. And him being able to go 6 is also huge because we have 4 more games here in Kansas City with no off day before traveling out to the Bronx. So I think that can't be understated, the length that you got from him as well. And I think, some of the clutch situations, Tony, with Johnny Cueto in that 6th inning, that's where he kind of started to, you could tell it was slipping a little bit from him in terms of, the kind of the more pinpoint accuracy that he had in the earlier innings. It was starting to slip there. Isbell has a 1-out double. Merrifield walks, so he's in a little bit of a jam there, like the first time all night, felt like. And then he gets Benintendi to fly out. And then how about Kane up Salvi Perez? That is a cool and tough way to end your outing.
Absolutely is a cool and tough way to end your outing. I mean, he attacked Royals hitters all night and just put balls in the strike zone. And that's what you have to do if you want to have a successful outing on the mound. And just ending it with the Salvi strikeout, you bring that up. It's nice to see the opposing team's best hitter in their lineup, a guy that just can do a lot of damage, go down there. It was a perfect way to end his first start in a White Sox uniform.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. I think it will close the book on Johnny Cueto there. Plenty more to discuss from this game, Tony. Let's talk White Sox getting on the board first. A little small ball. Hey, Adam Engel hustle double is a little bloop to center field. How about a Kansas City special in Kansas City? I'll take him when we can get him. But Adam Engel, obviously, very fast human being, but he was hustling out of the box, moving around first base, and throw wasn't even close when you get into second base there. That's nice to start off. And then Andrew Vaughn sitting in the 9 hole, interestingly, today, but sac fly that's manufacturing a run that gets the White Sox on the board here, Tony. Thoughts on I know you probably want to chime in on that Vaughn stuff there too, but a little Adam Engel appreciation, I think, is in order as well.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about Adam Engel yesterday on the show. I brought up the automatic outs at the end of your order. And Adam Engel, not quite an automatic out guy, but he might not be the sexiest bat in your lineup, but Adam Engel does get the job done from time to time in some really key spots. He's got everybody wants to talk about his defense, but, maybe he is a guy that should get a little bit more playing time in the outfields. I know Steve's got an article out over at ontapsportsnet.com talking about, getting guys in. Happy to see him in the lineup today. And Adam Engel, man, there isn't enough appreciation for that guy. He was a guy that when he started up in the big leagues with the White Sox, was a little iffy on. Thought he was, your ninth inning defensive replacement type guy, getting a job done with the bat here in KC tonight. You love to see it, Johnny. You just love to see it.
Yes, Tony, with the legs as well. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the stolen base and the perfect read at that. No throw, even went down to third base. Granted, Selvy Perez is not a good defensive catcher, so just stating that as facts only because that's the truth. But either way, Adam Engel got the jump on Keller from the start and stole third base with ease. So that was nice to see too. And obviously the hustle to get to second base in the first place on the bloop out to center field. So nice to see White Sox get on the board early. Hashtag set the tone stuff right there. They'd be right back at it in the top of the fourth, Tony. Luis Robert leads off infield single. And when I say infield there, he friggin' smoked that ball. It was just right back at Keller, and that's deflecting off towards middle infielders. Not a chance with Robert's speed. And then Yasmani Grandal comes up a couple batters later, and boom, he's alive, Tony. Yasmani Grandal is alive. Hashtag confirmed. 2-run shot out to right field, and it was a friggin' laser beam.
Yeah, Johnny, you need guys like Yasmani Grandal in your lineup, playing catcher. We talked about this, going back to that same stuff. I do want to circle back on the batting order, Andrew Vaughn stuff in a minute, but man, if you can get Yaz's bat hot, this lineup looks a lot better because he is so dangerous in the middle of that order. And again, we talk about guys protecting guys through the order. We're going to get to a spot on the show tonight where we're talking about a very interesting decision to pitch to certain guys. You need Yasmani Grandal to be in the middle of that lineup as a guy that your opponent doesn't want to pitch to. And when you see him start hitting bombs, going deep, that bat's getting hot, Johnny. Love seeing Yaz and the bat drop. Let's just for a second.
Yes.
The bat drop.
It's been too long.
Let's talk about it. Let's get happy about it. The bat drop. Let's go. Give me your thoughts.
Tony, it's back. It's hashtag back. Obviously, we need to see some more consistently because just one ain't going to get the job done. And he's got to make up for some, I think, for that whole
he's got debts to pay.
Slump period. Exactly. He's got debts to pay here. But this is the first time we have seen it since April 9th, which was the second game of the year, if you remember, that one in Detroit. And at that point, we were feeling, if Yaz is getting going early, this is different than last year. Well, we had, like you'd said, the slump, and now he's got debts to pay. At least he's starting to do it. I think maybe the Sunday Funday commentary really digging in on him and Jose Abreu may have done a little motivation here, Tony.
Yeah, might have. It's only crazy if it doesn't work, Johnny. And we had some thoughts on how to get things done. See how the boys respond, and just early evaluations, the early returns on the ridiculous things that the Sox on Tap crew came up with on the last show to suggest how to get these guys out of the slumps seemed to pay off today. What are your thoughts there?
I wanted to get into another guy here because obviously we're talking about Yaz because he obviously lit it up with that home run. But another guy who we had criticized heavily on the Sunday Funday episode, Tony, was Jose Abreu. And he has been the subject of much criticism all throughout the fan base. And I think he's probably putting some pressure on himself as well. Now, granted, it didn't result in a home run or anything like that today, but he walked twice, which is something that I had been all of us were clamoring for. Please, we need some plate discipline here. Guess what? He walked twice tonight, and he also had a hit as well. So props are in order for him as well.
Yeah, you like to see him get going a little bit here, and if it takes a couple of walks, I mean, this team has not walked enough. Jose Abreu is a guy who should be walking a lot, especially in the middle of the year. You talk about, again, guys that teams shouldn't want to pitch to, and Jose Abreu starting to get on base a little bit more. That gets you active. It gets you in the game. You talk about hitting is contagious. It's contagious for the individual as well. When you're feeling it at the plate, you're seeing the ball well. I think you walk a little bit more because you know what's in the zone. You know you're not supposed to be swinging at that junk, and you know when it's over the plate and you can put a good swing on it, you're going to start to find those holes. When you start that whole contagious motivation, whatever you want to call it, the trends start to come out, and I'm not near ready to say that Jose Abreu is out of this slump, Jonnie, by any stretch of the imagination.
Fully hashtag back, but he's
got more debts to pay in my mind than Yasmani Grandal does right now. So it's nice to see, you're only as good as your last envelope, Jonnie. Yeah. He just delivered an envelope tonight. Let's see what he comes back with tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a step. We can talk about steps in the right direction. I think for both of them, that's encouraging to see, especially after the abysmal low run output that we have seen in trends over the past, couple of weeks. Even when they were winning, right? They weren't scoring all that many runs, and it was some of those same culprits that were not hot. And it took a few, timely hits and some more lockdown pitching to really get those wins when they were on the previous road trip last time they'd ventured away from Chicago. So, Tony, as we're moving on here, we talked about some good here in terms of Johnny Cueto and the White Sox getting on the board early. Felt like we were going to cruise for a little bit in this one because Matt Foster comes in, works a 1-2-3 inning. That guy has been solid overall this year. But then 8th inning, guy that I would want out there, Kendall Graveman, he gets touched up a little bit, and this thing gets dicey.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff going on with Kendall Graveman right now, Jonnie. The last couple of outings and some days of where he was unavailable, it makes you start to wonder here if maybe we're not fully healthy or you're going through a dead arm period. I'm not sure what's going on with Kendall Graveman just overall, but I think a little bit of this is just another one of those that's so White Sox things when you kind of chalk it up to it. It's never going to be easy. My messaging here is, for as frustrating as it is, that's baseball. You have to battle through it. You have to get through those downs, and you have to come back and find ways to win ball games. Guys are going to get touched up. The opponent's going to have, guys who are feeling it themselves at the plate, and mental lapses, whatever. That's just another one of those. That's so White Sox innings, and it's about the response. It's about how you come back and how you battle back from that, not only individually in your next outing, but how the team as a whole responds to an inning like that. You don't like to see this as a White Sox fan. I want Kendall Graveman to come out there and have a 1-2-3 inning every single fucking time he comes out of the bullpen.
I want all my relievers.
Yes, I want all my relievers to. That's just not the reality of life. Sometimes it's not going to go your way on a single night. And, let's see how he comes back. And I'm sure we're going to see him again in this KC series. Unless, something unforeseen happens. But I'm pretty sure we're going to see him again. And then we'll see what we get out of him.
Right, and I think we'll get a more statistical, maybe a visual breakdown from NWI Steve. He'll be on the next couple of nights doing some live from KC reporting, by the way. So it's nice to have some boots.
We've got a man there.
We got a man there. We got a man there down in KC, in BBQ City, as Steve would call it. But he'll give that. I need to go on the overall trended term that you used that I love is hashtag that's so White Sox. And this is just the way it is, folks. This is what we're born into. You're born into this shit. You are what you are. And we are White Sox fans. We have to suffer through this. Guess what? Liam Hendricks had a stretch where he looked like he had figured it out. So guess what? The next arm in the bullpen's got to give. Someone's got to give you the heart attack. Someone's got to give you the headaches. And obviously, Aaron Bummer is on the injured list right now. He had been giving plenty before he had went on. There have been other guys throughout the year at certain times. Unfortunately, it's Kendall Graveman's turn to be the heart attack. That's a White Sox guy out of the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, it rotates through. For Ryan Burr's going to have his ups and downs. Garrett Crochet has been a guy that gives you heart attacks before. I know he's obviously another one who's injured. Jose Ruiz for large stretches of his White Sox tenure has been that guy. It's going to happen. There's going to be times where a pitcher, just like a hitter, is going to go through some of those stretches where the arm doesn't feel as crisp. The pitches aren't in the zone where you want, the location's off, the arm slot's off. Something's just not right with the guy mentally. Maybe he's having a bad day, comes out there and pitches and things don't go your way. But overall, I'm not worried about Kendall Graveman by any stretch of the imagination here, Johnny. I think he'll be just fine.
Right. I am with you in that camp too, because we saw what his level of effectiveness can be earlier in the season. So, Tony, after that, those hiccups there in the 8th inning, that makes it a tie ball game, 3-3 now, and we're going to extras. And top of the 10th, looks like the White Sox aren't going to score because Josh Harrison comes in to pinch run for Vaughn. He's on second. Anderson grounds out to the third baseman. Nice play by Bobby Witt Jr. Credit where it's due. And then Moncada strikes out. And you're thinking, damn, he's mowing us down here a little bit. Are we even going to advance the runner? Like, that's hasn't even happened yet. Well, guess what? La Pantera steps up to the plate. 2-run jack out to left field. This proved to be the game-winning hit, Tony. I love that. And deserving of an R roll, it was Luis Robert time.
Yes, there we go. I love it. I love the R rolls. I know Steve was rolling the R probably loud down there.
Yeah, Buzz said he chipped a tooth
in BBQ City. We're gonna have to check on Buzz if he actually did chip a tooth. That's not good. But same note though. I mean, if you're gonna chip a tooth, it better be on a La Pantera Luis Robert R roll from our guy Buzz. We'll check on him. You can see if we can get him to a dentist or something, fix that up so he can roll those R's again when Luis continues this hot streak. I mean, Johnny, and this is something that was talked about on the NBC postgame show after this. It was going back and forth on Twitter. I know I asked the guys in our chat as well. If you're Kansas City, are you pitching to Luis in that situation with Jose Abreu behind him?
Knowing our trends, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting to me now. I don't know if Casey's advanced scouting on the White Sox has really followed what Luis Robert's been doing. This is a guy who's on the longest hitting streak of his career. Obviously did some damage earlier in this ball game. He is an absolute fucking hit machine right now, and he just shows no signs of slowing down. One thing I said during this, when you see this happen and I talk about response, the White Sox have needed their superstars to show up. It's something that we talked about on the show yesterday. It's something that Luis Robert did on Saturday night against the New York Yankees. It's something that you saw from him again today. In those spots, those are the exact moments that you have to, as a White Sox fan, for all the That's So White Sox stuff that we were just talking about, when Luis Robert drills that pitch into the Kansas City night and the Sox take the lead there, that is crack a beer, victory beer, like game ball, like whatever it is that you do to just appreciate that a White Sox star player stepped up in a big moment. I can't express how much that brings me joy, Johnny, as a White Sox fan, seeing that happen right there in that situation, especially with the lead up to it. You have Tim Anderson, the guy who's supposed to set the tone, the straw that stirs the drink, get out, not advance the runner. You see Yohan Moncada. He was going through a little bit of a rough day at the plate today. I think he finished 0 for 5. The feel, the momentum, that is a momentum-changing moment in this ball game, the biggest moment in this ball game, and it came off the bat of your fucking superstar, Luis Robert. That is what you like to see. That is how you win ball games. Stars show up. If that's at home, the fireworks are going off, and it is fucking loud at the rate. You want to see Luis Robert, Jose Abreu, Moncada, Anderson in those spots step up. Look, he saw his first two guys right before him not get the job done. He got the job done. Pick each other up. That's what it's all about. I fucking love watching that.
Yeah, it makes me happy. Makes me very happy, Tony. And for like all those reasons that you had just said, I don't need to rehash it. But I think the general theme of that is big time players make big time plays in big time situations.
Yep.
That's what I have to leave it at, because I think you described it all perfectly. Yes, elation, joy, but it wasn't done there. We needed to, obviously, Kansas City starting with a runner on second in the extra inning, their half there being the home team. Liam Hendricks comes in out of the bullpen, and Tony, absolute domination. This was that stretch of what we saw with that when he closed down, was it 4 ball games all in a row, when he was looking like he was on. I am very, very, very impressed with the location and the bite on his breaking stuff right now. He is really harnessing that, and that makes him, that's what you're expecting when you're talking reliever of the year quality, Liam Hendricks right there.
Absolutely. And I think, just like we said with, some of these other guys, they're going to go through stretches. We're going to ride them. Again, going back to, your envelopes, man. Liam Hendricks was returning some shitty envelopes for a while. Then he was returning some good ones. Now he's back, kind of middle ground. Here we go with the Liam Hendricks. If this is another trajectory of up, because, the market is always fluid with baseball players. If we are on the upswing with Liam Hendricks closing down ball games again, talked a little bit about this earlier in the show. Sox have a lot of games. They got more games in less days over this next little stretch here. So you're going to need Liam Hendricks to be on. That's a very encouraging sign for this White Sox bullpen if he is.
Yes, it absolutely is. And I'd be remiss, Tony, if I did not give some props to Ryan Burr, because I've had my just sort of internal doubts.
You've been riding on him for a while.
It's like that. That's so White Sox thing a little bit, though, because you just feel like that's where the levee's going to break, right?
Yeah, but
but he
prior to the injury, do you remember what was this? 2020, or 20? Yeah, I think it was 2020, or maybe it was last year.
2019, because he was out 2020.
Yeah, he had tweeted that thing about being the guy to look out for. Like, he's had the stuff. Ryan Burr's had the stuff. It's just, he's had his struggles getting, into a solid role in the bullpen. But again, you go look at a guy like Matt Foster and you could say the same thing. There's ups, there's downs. But, I think he did a fucking excellent job coming in here in that 9th inning.
Talk about 1, 2, 3 innings here. Obviously, Hendricks had the one. Foster's kicked it off going in after Cueto. Graveman was the lapse there tonight, as we talked about earlier. But then Ryan Burr, that's big. He got a strikeout, a flyout, and a line out. So definitely help from defense there too. And I think that's something that should not be glossed over here. Clean ball game. I think there was only one thing that you could really, actually, excuse me, there are a couple of things that we could do on defense there. But when it came time for those ones, balls hit Adam to make a play. Adam Engel jumping into a wall at one point to make a catch on a foul ball down the line. That was nice to see. But Tony, it's not all sunshine and roses all the time. We're going to enjoy the outcome here. We're going to enjoy our victory beers, but I do just have a couple of bones to pick. And that's the lineup of Andrew. I'm going to give my thoughts here. Andrew Vaughn should not be batting 9th. That's ludicrous. That's a bad decision by Tony La Russa. I don't understand the second leadoff hitter thing. This isn't the NL anymore where pitchers bat and you put a position player below the pitcher and the pitcher at 8th. This is not the same. I'm sorry, Tony. That's it. My thoughts on that. And then also Vaughn should have been taken out earlier too, so you avoid that 8th inning defensive liability, because I know he has missed the ball at the plate on the throw home. So he has deserved some criticism when I'm talking defense here too. But Andrew Vaughn fumbled around with it in the corner, and I get it. It's hitting off the wall. It's kind of odd with how far you are away from the wall, but you got to think a true outfielder would make that play more cleanly. And then if that ballsy send goes through like it would from the Royals third base coach, you absolutely nail him at home and have plenty of time. So he is making a quick. I think that was kind of his problem. He's trying to pull it before he really caught it. So I did need to just harp on those a little bit. I know you wanted to touch on Andrew Vaughn lineup position here, so let's go ahead and talk this one out.
Absolutely, Johnny. I can understand where people come from when they say Andrew Vaughn shouldn't be hitting 9th. And as somebody who's had some light experience coaching youth baseball, so that nowhere near major league level, Johnny. But just getting in the head of a manager here for a second. I've always been kind of a fan of the second leadoff hitter kind of guy. I think it's kind of lost art, and that's where people get really upset with La Russa, is because
have a perfect one in Adam Engel to do, though.
I think you do have a perfect one in Adam Engel, and I would absolutely rather see Adam Engel in the 9th spot, probably, on a more nightly basis. If we're being honest, I don't know if I've seen Harrison float around down there, Larry Garcia, but you know what? In the grand scheme of things, I do understand that there's some schools of baseball thought where your lineup really doesn't fucking matter after the first time through. There's other schools of thought that tell you
getting your best hitters more at bats.
Getting your best hitters more at bats is where that lines up. But you know what? In the game of baseball, at certain points in time, it's about where guys are going to wind up in certain spots. And,
you just can't predict that, though. Whereas you can predict that this guy at the top will get more at bats than the guy batting last.
That's true. But I could sit there and say that, just because you line up, your players based on, who's going to get the most stats doesn't mean that that's where they're going to perform or where you're going to have the opportunity to do that throughout the game anyway. So, I think that there's a lot of people who get hung up on this and they want a bone to pick. I say go ahead, pick every bone that you want to, because there's not a single human on this fucking earth that's going to do the same thing the same way as everybody else is anyway. So you're entitled to your own opinion. Go ahead, have it. And, at the end of the day, it is what it is. If the guy doesn't get the job done, or if batting Andrew Vaughn 9th cost the White Sox today's game, by all means, go ahead and bitch about it. But at the end result of this, Vaughn was in some spots where that was rough. I'm looking at this. The one thing that I can say is, if I'm, the manager of the Kansas City Royals, and I've got, if I've got to deal with Andrew Vaughn, Tim Anderson, Luis Robert, Yohan Moncada, Jose Abreu, Yasmani Grandal, all bunched in together, which you can make the argument, yes, slot Andrew Vaughn in there in one of those spots as well. I'm not immune to that, as I said it myself. I don't think Andrew Vaughn's a 9 hitter in a lineup, but in the grand scheme of things, you're out here to win baseball games. If the lineup looks a little funky one day, I mean, we're talking about a guy that batted Lurie Garcia, I believe, 3rd in the order here at one point during the season.
And that was egregious as well.
Things are going to happen. I go back and compare my biggest comparison point, and I know this is cross sports, but you're a hockey guy. You like your game-winning hit. I go back and I look at some of the things that Joe Quenneville did with the line blender that were funky, and a lot of it's mental stuff, and like, where do you want guys? And, to me, again, I go back and I rest on, this guy has won a lot more baseball games than I ever fucking had. I'm not saying that I'm not going to criticize him. I'm not saying that I'm not going to, have problems or issues with things that he does. I'm going to have issues with anything that any manager is ever going to do, because I would do it differently myself. But for all intents and purposes here, I do kind of lean towards, why is Andrew Vaughn batting 9th? But he gave a reasoning. And I think if somebody gives a reasoning for what they're doing, and, whether or not you agree with it, if he's got sound reasoning behind it, I'm not really going to question that process all too much. If that's the way that he feels is the best way to put this team in a position to win. Now, like I said, again, if it doesn't, and it severely costs them a ball game, then yeah, maybe let's take a look and examine it a little bit more. I don't think it was as egregious as some people wanted to make it out to be online today.
I would prefer to not see it again, based on number, especially with the strike. It's one thing if, like, this team is going on an absolute heater, and it's like a decision of like, okay, Yaz is hitting, Abreu's hitting, Roberts, everybody's hitting, the whole squad's hitting, Tony.
Yeah, I know.
Then it's like a good problem to have, and it's like, oh, like, like whatever, like whoever, no, doesn't matter where they're going to be, they're going to hit then. But with where this team was in an offensive funk, I think that is what brought about some of this too, especially when you needed the jolt, right?
And what's really crazy is, like, I did this in a ball game the other day, managing my 10-year-old team. Is I looked at my lineup, I'm trying to construct it. I literally took not my best hitter, not my second best hitter, not my third best hitter, but a kid who hits the ball pretty well, and I tried to balance my lineup a little bit out, put some other kids up a little bit more in the lineup. I actually took one of the kids who hadn't hit the ball all year, batted him first, just to try and maneuver things around. End up winning that ball game because that kid leads off, gets a hit, and we got into a spot in that ball game where the same thing happened. I was in my bottom 3 guys, just kind of plotting out where this game's going to go. And, it was, I tried to stack the bottom of the lineup because that's what I thought was going to happen, wind up winning the game because of it. So I'm seeing this happen today. I'm sitting here watching it. I'm like, everybody's getting mad. I just did the same thing and won a ball game doing that. So, moment of honesty here. I've done this before.
Yeah.
And I've seen it pay off just because I had a feeling as I'm sitting in the dugout, like, all right.
Yeah, it's a gut feeling.
Yeah, it's a gut feeling. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
There's no way to quantify them. You can't do that. Yeah.
You can't. So, maybe Tony was sitting there having premonitions of like, we might be in a big spot in the 7th or 8th inning and we're going to be on our last 3 guys. Maybe Tony was listening to us sitting here and go, the bottom of your order can't be, because Steve said it yesterday. I hope Tony's listening. Maybe he didn't listen to Steve. Maybe he listened to that segment where we talked about, the bottom of the order can't have a bunch of automatic outs. Well, I'm going to go fucking put Andrew Vaughn right there. Who the hell knows? I don't know. I have no rhyme or reason for why he did what he did, but that's my thoughts.
Adam Engel would have been my choice. I'll leave it at that. That would have been mine. If you want that second leadoff hitter, and I don't subscribe to that, but that's okay. That's differing thoughts. I'm glad we talked it out. Got both sides out here. So, Tony, other things from this, I do like to see 10 hits total too. I like getting up in the double digits there, and it's basically everybody in this lineup had a hit, minus Yohan Moncada and Andrew Vaughn. Then in the 9 hole, I know he did have that sac fly though, so it wasn't a totally unproductive night for Mr. Vaughn. I just like seeing that. Hopefully, like I said, hitting contagious. Want to see it get going up and down throughout the lineup. Let's see that in a little more power form, though. That's what I'm looking for as we look ahead to a doubleheader tomorrow.
Absolutely, and tomorrow is going to be a real test. And I hope that we're talking, double victory beers on the show tomorrow. We need more. We need more, Johnny.
Yeah, we do need more. Me and Steve will have that post game coming out tomorrow night after game 2. But let's set the stage, Tony, because we know for sure game 1 it is going to be Dylan Cease for our White Sox on the mound. Game 2 still up in the air. I know Lucas Giolito seems like he's close because La Russa did say before the game today when they had purchased the contract of Jonnie Cueto, because you got to remember he was on a minor league deal, so they had to do that. Sent Danny Mendick down to clear that space, but obviously they do get an extra spot for game 2 of a doubleheader. Lucas Giolito is on the COVID-related IL right now, but the projection here was that possibly tomorrow or Wednesday is the return timeline. So there were some rumors about a potential minor league call-up for starting that game 2, but I think I saw those retracted a little bit. You have any further insight into what we might get game 2?
Johnny, I'm really not sure at this point in time to be completely honest with you. I don't know. I really do not know what is going to happen with this. Obviously, Cueto comes up and buys you this start here, which is absolutely impactful in the grand scheme of things. One would hope that Lucas Giolito is ready to go. A lot of this is going to depend on how you want to stack this rotation and set this rotation up for another big matchup with the New York Yankees that comes at the end of this series. So it'll be really interesting. We talked a lot about it yesterday. How do you line this up? And man, that just begs the question, because I'm sitting here during this ball game, Johnny. I'm sitting here going, so Cueto, you would assume, is getting the ball on Friday, correct? That would be his normal rest on Saturday.
They did say they wanted Kopech to get the extra day of rest. So Saturday for Kopech is what we know for the placement there.
So that would then mean that you're getting Cueto on either Friday or Sunday.
Most likely, yes.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting, because this doubleheader in here throws a real wrench in things.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I just did a little double check back through the beat reporters. No word yet on tomorrow's starter. So
that'll be Cueto on Sunday, because you're going to have Giolito going in here. You're hopefully assuming Dallas Keuchel's got to line it into this as well. So it's Vinny Velo. I mean, do you pitch somebody on short rest tomorrow? That's a huge question.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And obviously, minor league call-ups always in the works. We know that there's probably a possibility of Jimmy Lambert if there's no no further word on Lucas Giolito yet. So, and they're depending if it's would be Wednesday that they're targeting for him, whatever it may be. So, stay tuned to the Sox on Tap Twitter account. We'll keep you posted as those updates roll through. But what we do know for sure is Cease the Day. Obviously, a little bit of a tough go of it. Weird outing in his last time out, granted against a much more potent lineup in the New York Yankees, but 11 strikeouts, but still, giving up some long balls, getting touched up on some hard hit balls that is kind of uncharacteristic for him. So I think at least game one, Tony, building off of this momentum from last night, obviously we had a very nice start with Jonnie Cueto. I think Dylan Cease elevates that to an even another level tomorrow in the afternoon game.
I would hope so. And what you want to see from Dylan Cease is, maybe it's going to be a little bit easier for him, but I don't want to see that pitch count get elevated. Maybe take a little bit of a note out of the Jonnie Cueto performance tonight. Try and get yourself into a position where you're not just trying to rely on the strikeout to get outs. That's something that, obviously you want your pitcher to have the ability to do so. Strikeouts are cool and tough. I love strikeouts. But you're going to need a couple of 1, 2, 3 innings, under 7 pitches, and try and extend some life into the bullpen, especially for game 2. We talk about setting the tone all the time. A real set the tone move for me, Jonnie, is Dylan Cease throwing 7 innings of baseball tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be very nice. I agree. I want the length from it, Tony, but I think I got a theory on Dylan Cease. It's kind of hard for him sometimes, especially when you face a weaker lineup like a Kansas City Royals, team that just fired their hitting coach. That tells you how things are going offensively for them. It's kind of hard because the stuff moves so much, especially when you're talking breaking balls. So when you're trying to induce that like weak contact for just a ground ball or whatever it may be, it moves too much to where they just fan on it. So then it ends up resulting in more pitches. He's got to throw another one, and then they miss that one, and then it's okay before you know it. We're getting here with a strikeout at the end of it instead of
and that's fair. However the outs come.
That's my theory.
However the outs come, I'll take them. But I want to see him go deep in this ball game, especially given the circumstances right now. You've got question marks in game 2 on your starter. Game 1 is, in my opinion, the most important game that you're going to play tomorrow. You want to go out there and win that ball game, have KC on their heels. The pressure is all on them then to come back and respond. I mean, the interesting thing is going to be how Tony La Russa manages the lineups. We know that you're going to see some rest for some guys throughout this.
Would imagine some Reese McGuire behind the plate to start tomorrow.
Yeah, I would imagine that Reese gets the start in game 1, and Yaz is probably not in that lineup, and then catching in game 2 in that lineup. But it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out. I just want you to go out. I want the boys to go out and set the tone, win the first game. I think it starts with Dylan Cease. Maybe 7/8 a lot, but you have to get through 6 if you're Cease. No trouble, no big inning. This is not the New York Yankees lineup that you just faced. You should be able to carve them up a little bit, and there's still going to be the fair share of strikeouts. If I'm a betting man, I'm still going on there and probably taking the over on the strikeouts. I'm not sure what those lines look like right now, but I mean, I would just say some ground balls, flyouts early on in counts would be really appreciated, from the Kansas City folk tomorrow.
Yeah, it would do some nice wonders for his pitch count and length possibility. So, Tony, pick the click. Who's helping us get it done? We'll only do game 1 here because game 2 could result in possible wonkiness once again in the lineup. So let's just go game 1.
Maybe we'll tweet out our picks to click for game 2 after we do a little meeting of the minds after game 1. But Jonnie, pick to click in game 1 tomorrow. I like what I saw from Jose Abreu today. You talked about some of these walks earlier, getting hit. I want him to leave the yard. So I'm going Jose. MVP shit time. Let's go.
All right. I like it. Yeah. Like I said, step in the right direction today. So I like that. As I'm thinking about tomorrow's game, I will go with Mr. Tim Anderson. He will be in the leadoff hole. Let's hashtag set the tone. I know Steve went with him tonight. Still had a couple hits tonight. So let's build on that further. But another thing, too, talk about other guys leaving the yard. Well, we got one from Yaz. Let's see Timmy. It's been a little bit for him. And it's obviously been, a while for Jose. So.
Yeah, it's time. It's time to ride, Jonnie.
Yeah, time to ride. Tony, final thought, and then let's get out of here.
Go take 2 tomorrow. 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 Speak it into existence. That's the frequency I'm on right now, Jonnie. We need more wins. We need more victory beers. We need to see the boys continue to find ways to overcome these spots like they did tonight when Luis Robert comes back, battles for you. And there should be a lot of momentum. These guys should be really happy with the game they played today. Let's hope that carries over in tomorrow. Big day. Get your rest and go take 2, go take 2, go take 2 tomorrow. White Sox, let's go.
Real short and simple. I'd said I want all 5. The only way to get to all 5, let's win 2 tomorrow. Tony, that's it. White Sox forever.
White Sox forever.